Greetings, Dankey Kang gang. It's Comrade Dankey here with an exciting video on Joe Rogan. Um, I've featured Joe Rogan a few times in my channel in the past, and my basic criticism boils down to him being the largest podcast in the world, gives a lot of softball interviews and introduces to a mass audience a lot of really scummy people like Jordan Peterson and uh, uh, Gavin McInnes and Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder, and he is basically a propaganda platform for the intellectual dark web and for the alt-right. And I used to like Joe Rogan a long time ago, back in about 2015, early 2016, before he started getting very political. And uh I liked him because he had funny guests on like Joey Diaz, and they would tell funny stories, and he would have interesting guests on like outdoorsman types and jujitsu types and just all kinds of people from all kinds of walks of life. But it just slowly became this sort of circle jerk about let's just rant about millennials and about the PC culture and about the SJWs on college campus every fucking podcast episode. And Joe Rogan, just whenever he starts talking about socialism, it you have to clear the room because the sheer amount of stupidity that is exuded from Joe Rogan when he talks about socialism is so pungent, and it drives everybody away, ladies and gentlemen. The guy's got no clue. The guy's got no clue, and he's only the biggest podcast on the earth. So here he is interviewing this libertarian, capitalist, bougie shithead, Peter Schiff, who thinks that he is just God's greatest gift to humanity, him being a big CEO, bougie capitalist. Of course, he's a libertarian, and we're going to listen to two very rich white men tell us why socialism could never work. But then again, don't listen to me because I'm just an identity politic pandering SJW libcuck according to all of Joe Rogan's fans.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Tucker Carlson and some guy who's a professor at Harvard, and he said, "I'll give you the last word." The guy said, "Socialism's going to win." And he made the piece. I'm like, "What is that? What does that even mean? Like, socialism is going to win? What does that mean? And what is socialism?"
Well, it could.
It means that one day the system of global capitalism will fall, and people will build a new society in accordance with the teachings of Marx and Lenin. Joe Rogan, that's what that means.
Win at the polls. That's the problem. It's very intoxicating to people who don't know any better.
Right.
And the interesting thing
rich
about
people, they have too much money.
Yeah. The interesting thing about socialism is that no matter how many times it fails, people expect it to succeed. Right. That's the definition of insanity. Right.
All right. So every single time the U.S. says, "All right, guys, this country's got an evil communist dictator, so we're going to go in, do a regime change, and bring democracy and freedom to these poor people of country A, B, C." All right, so how many fucking times has the U.S. done regime change, tried to set up these puppet capitalist countries, only to have them completely fall apart and fucking fail? Right? How many times can capitalism continue to fail again and again and again due to the internal instability baked into the system before the capitalists finally realize, guys, we should stop doing this. It's just not going to work. That's the definition of insanity. Every single time socialism's been tried, it has been assaulted and gang raped by capitalist imperialism at every turn. And so, by some miracle, what few socialist countries still remain are trying their best, but the failures of socialism are largely because of just the inevitable onslaught of capitalist imperialism that stalls the socialist movement, that stalls the proletarian movement, and that strangles it in its cradle, according to to quote Winston Churchill.
Right, doing something over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, the socialists always expect a different result from doing something that has never succeeded in the past.
Okay, I don't know what this guy calls success, but let's talk about a few of the successes of socialism in terms of the Soviet Union. Within a single generation, socialism raised a people from essentially medieval serf-like conditions to completely modernized, industrialized people in a single generation. Socialism, of course, propelled us into space, put the first man in space, first woman in space, first dog in space, first satellite around the Earth. Socialism, of course, defeated the Nazis, defeated fascism, defeated Hitler, and saved the world. So, socialism elevated millions out of poverty, gave them education. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure socialism has accomplished a whole fucking lot.
Socialism, by definition, is one thing, but by the emotional reaction that people have is kind of another thing. The emotional reaction is there's rich people that are a real problem. They're hoarding. They're greedy. I'm not concerned with money. I'm concerned with people and community and feelings and health and welfare and education. And all that money, we should take it from those rich people and we should funnel it into education and community. And they say all these words that make people feel good, like, yeah, we're not about money either.
Yeah, and it's all about feeling good. That's
what the fuck are they even talking about? Like, we're not saying we should take all the rich people's money and just put it in a giant pile in the middle of town and everyone just gets a bucket full. That's not what socialism is, Joe Rogan. Socialism is when the workers control the means of production. All right? When the workers control the places of business, Joe, that's socialism. All right? It's not these rich people have more money, so let's take it all and give it to everybody else for roads and social programs. No, dude, that's social welfare. That's not socialism. All right? I don't understand why these people don't understand what the fuck socialism is, but they think they know and they think they can talk all this shit about it. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, you dumb shits. You're just as bad as the creationists who go around saying, "Oh yeah, we know all about evolution and why it's wrong, and listen to us. Listen to us tell you why evolution's wrong." Meanwhile, they don't know jack shit. They never read a science book in their life. These people are the exact same thing. They go around saying, "Oh yeah, well the problem with socialism is that it's been tried and it failed so many times, and it's all about feelings and feeling good." It's just stupid. It ignores reality, and these people don't even know what the flying fuck they're talking about because they've probably never even read Karl Marx. They've probably even never read Das Kapital or the history of the Soviet Union or anything like that.
That's what the liberals are about. It's about, feeling that they're better than everybody. All about feeling good. That's what the liberals are about. It's about, feeling that they're better than everybody else.
So this is what drives me crazy about libertarians, is that they have a child's view of the political spectrum. Like they think liberals, leftists, and socialists are all the same thing. They wouldn't know a fucking social democrat from a Marxist Leninist. They wouldn't know a fucking centrist shill libcuck like Hillary Clinton from somebody like Che Guevara. To them, they're pretty much the same. They're all the libs. They're all libs, ladies and gentlemen. It makes me sick when people call me a liberal. It's like, I'm not a fucking liberal. I fucking hate liberals.
Because they're higher up on this moral pedestal because they don't care about money. They just care about, people and, but when you talk about rich.
No, Peter Schiff, we're higher up on the moral pedestal because we don't want to live in a system that fundamentally exploits the vast majority of people. All right? We don't like the exploitation of capitalism. We don't like the bullshit oppression of the working class by the bourgeoisie.
Rich people, they don't hoard money. I mean, the way you get rich is not by hoarding.
The rich people don't hoard money. What the fuck do you call, like, offshore bank accounts then, dipshit? I'm pretty sure that's hoarding money. I'm pretty sure that fucking Jeff Bezos, who has a net worth of like hundreds of billions of dollars, can't possibly be investing and spending all that money at the same rate he earns it. You dumb shit. They've got fucking piles and piles of Scrooge McDuck money, and they're just sitting on it. I just covered on my channel about the companies of Qualcomm, Walmart, and Kimberly Clark making billions of dollars on these Trump tax cuts. And so they have all this fucking Scrooge McDuck money that they can fucking do whatever they want with. And they decide to fire workers anyway and have mass layoffs anyway. So no, dip ass, rich people don't spend their money. They fucking hoard it. They hoard it and they do stock buyback shit, and they just find a way to keep it allocated at the very tippy top.
The way you get rich is by trying to figure out what problems people have that you can solve, right? Whether it's inventing something that makes their lives better or providing a service that makes their lives better, because the customers are in charge, individuals, right?
The customers are in charge. This guy's a fucking CEO, and he's so blind to the fact that he doesn't even understand how the capitalism system works. The customers aren't in charge, dipshit. The capitalists are the ones in charge. People like you are the ones in charge. You get to dictate what goes on the market. You get to dictate who works for you and how much they earn. It's all you, baby. You rule the society. Congratulations. That's why people like me want to do something about it.
That's what's going to allocate wealth. It's if somebody is better than somebody else at satisfying the design.
Okay, guys. So according to libertarian Peter Schiff's big brain capitalist ideology, all rich people are there purely on their own merit. And if you're poor, then you're just being lazy or you don't have enough skills. You don't provide a service that enough people want.
Desires that people have, right? If I can come up with something that you like, that you want to buy, that's cheaper and better than what somebody else has come up with, then you're going to buy from me. And so the person who ends up with the most money is the person who's satisfied the most desires, the most needs in the most efficient way possible. And that's what's benefiting society. I mean,
the most efficient way possible. I mean, does he not take into account like trade wars? Does he not take into account like corporate espionage and backstabbing, market conflicts, whole businesses being forced to go bankrupt because of their competitors, and so they lay off masses of people and waste tons and tons of resources and millions of dollars? Does that sound efficient? It doesn't sound fucking efficient at all. There's absolutely fucking nothing efficient about capitalism. It's the most inefficient fucking thing there is. It thrives on waste.
I mean, it's great to have charity, and I'm all for private charity. But if you look at the wealthiest,
Karl Marx talked about the crisis of overabundance of commodities in capitalism and how absurd it is that there can be an abundance of commodities and yet the people could be too poor to afford them, and how that is a kind of contradiction that is cooked into capitalism.
Men in history, even though I'm all for private charity, but if you look at the wealthiest men,
all these libertarians are for private charities. You know, private charities don't do jack shit, my friend. You know, you'd think that all welfare programs should be private charities. That's typically libertarian bullshit. You know, obviously, this guy being a CEO has no fucking idea just how dire situation of so many people are out there. And if you cut essential programs like Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, there's so many people in this country that would just be completely screwed over and be forced to go die in the street. Because guess what, dude? Charity doesn't fucking work. Charity doesn't solve systematic problems. You can only solve systemic problems through working with the system itself or through a revolution. But either way, relying on the charity of others ain't gonna cut it, buddy.
Men in history, even though they've been incredible philanthropists and they've given away a lot of money, they helped a lot more people amassing their fortunes than gifting away what they made. It was the businesses that they created, the products that they invented, the services that they provided, and the employment, right? That was all a function of their creating their wealth. That's what did a lot more to help society than simply giving away some of the money that they earned.
Have you ever had a debate with?
Okay, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how much Jeff Bezos has benefited society from all the wealth that he has amassed. Because if the benefits of society reflect the amount of wealth someone's amassed, then the society in which Jeff Bezos lived would be one of the most affluent, wealthiest, happiest societies in the world, according to Peter Schiff's logic. But we're not, because capitalism doesn't allocate resources to everyone, dipshit. It allocates it overwhelmingly to the very top 1%, the big capitalists that control everything.
A democratic socialist?
Well, I mean, some of the money that they earned.
Have you ever had a debate with a democratic socialist?
Well, I mean, most Democrats are socialists. They just don't know it, or they don't want to admit it.
Most Democrats are socialists. They just don't know it. This is a big brain hot take from the libertarian CEO boy Peter Schiff. I don't know how this guy is so stupid and got to be a CEO. I mean, he must know how to fucking do the stock market or whatever, but that doesn't make him smart on politics, ladies and gentlemen. And he's a fucking idiot.
And a lot of people don't even understand what socialism is, because, you'll have the left.
This guy surely understands what socialism is. This guy's read all the works of Marx, all the works of Lenin. He's read all the theory, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Schiff has the answers. Richard Wolff, get the fuck out of here. No one needs you anymore. I got Peter Schiff to explain to me what socialism really is, folks.
Left, I'll always consider somebody, like even Donald Trump, they'll say, oh, he's a fascist, right? They don't even...
Donald Trump is a fascist by definition. That's a video we can do in the future where I can go point by point of like fascist policy by fascist policy, fascist viewpoint by fascist viewpoint, and show directly one-to-one why Trump is a fucking fascist.
And realize that fascism is part of socialism. Socialism is a...
Oh my Jesus. Did he really just say what I thought he said? Let's go back and hear that one more time, just to let the stupidity of that statement soak in completely.
They don't even realize that fascism is part of socialism. Socialism is...
Jesus fucking Christ. You guys can't see it, but my head is just hung in shame. I can't believe I live on the same planet as these fucking idiots. Fascism and socialism, basically the same. What is it with these libertarians and not knowing what the fuck they're even talking about? I don't think they live in the same reality as you and me. I think maybe Peter Schiff and Joe Rogan smoked too much DMT before this, and they are going on an alternate plane where somehow they think that fascism and socialism are basically the same thing.
Is a broad concept that includes things like communism and fascism. So if you're a communist concept that fascism is part of socialism. Socialism is a broad concept that includes things like communism and fascism. So
according to this dip ass, socialism, communism, and I can't even begin to comprehend how dumb this is. Like, fascists call themselves the National Socialists. Do you know why that is, Peter Schiff? It's not because they were socialist. Hitler fucking hated socialists. He killed communists in the Holocaust, you dumb fuck. He blamed the fire on the Reichstag on communists. So this idiot over here saying that the fascists are socialists, he doesn't know what the flying fuck he's talking about. Yeah, they called themselves the National Socialists, but that was just so they could co-opt the term socialism and try to use it to justify their fascist viewpoints. There wasn't anything remotely fucking socialist about Adolf Hitler, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're a communist, you are a socialist. But it doesn't mean that if you're a socialist, you're a communist, because you could be a fascist. You could be.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If you're a socialist, you're a communist. Yeah, because communism is the end stage of the socialist movement. Socialism is the establishment of a dictatorship of the proletariat. Communism is when that dictatorship of the proletariat has created a state of economic superabundance where commodities can just be given each according to his ability and to each according to his need, as Marx described, where everyone can just take freely from the stockpile, and there's so much you don't have to worry about theft or black markets or anything like that. It's a classless, moneyless society, the end stage of socialist development. But in no fucking universe is fascism part of that socialist theory. In no universe at all is fascism even remotely related to socialism. Fascism is a reactionary capitalist ideology made specifically for the purpose of maintaining capitalism's power. The whole thing of fascism is that Western liberal democracy has failed. We need to turn to a strong centralized government and deify the state so that we can prevent the communist revolution from taking power. So in part 2, we will explain more about Joe Rogan and Peter Schiff's idiocy. This is what happens when you let a DMT smoking Neanderthal and a fucking libertarian CEO capitalist pig talk about socialism. This is the kind of cringe you get, ladies and gentlemen.